All right, so now let's talk about follicle maturation in relation to oogenesis. Remember that the stem cell here is the oogonium, and that before birth, all the oogonium turn into primary oocytes. And they're going to be arrested in prophase 1, and they're all present at birth. They're inactive at this point until puberty. Once a girl hits puberty, until she goes through menopause, each month a selection of these primary oocytes, which are diploid because they're frozen in prophase 1, a selection of them are going to undergo follicular development. So here they are in the primary follicle. Now they're going to be in the secondary follicle just because the follicle's grown, but it's still a primary oocyte, right? And the follicular follicle here starts to develop an antrum, still a level of the secondary follicle. Now, when ovulation occurs, when you get the LH surge, is when you get the completion of meiosis. This usually only happens with one primary oocyte. Only one gets ovulated. If two get ovulated, you get the chance of fraternal twins. So when the meiosis 1 completes, it's a little bit different than what we've been talking about with sperm or with just cells in general, because instead of resulting in two haploid cells that look the same, what you get is one secondary oocyte, and it's arrested in metaphase 2, which is interesting, and a polar body. The reason for that is because the egg is going to go on to become a zygote, and the sperm is bringing little else besides the DNA, because it has to be mobile. So sperm are basically little sacs of nucleus. It's a nucleus in the head. It has a little acrosome here, some mitochondria in the midpiece, and a flagella, and that's about it. It's not enough to create a human. To create a human, you have to have a large ovum with lots of organelles and cytoplasm, and then, you know, men just add their DNA, and that's about it. So the secondary oocyte is really large, and then the other cell is just a polar body. Now, meiosis 2 may continue with the polar body or not. So you may end up with 4 cells at the end or 3. Now, this is what happens during ovulation. So you ovulate, and that's when you get to the stage of the secondary oocyte. But meiosis 2 will not actually complete unless a sperm, this is a sperm here, penetrates the oocyte. So meiosis 2 requires fertilization. So essentially, if a woman doesn't get pregnant, she never really creates an ovum. Now, if you look at this again in relation to the ovarian cycle, remember that the cycle can be divided right where the LH surge happens. So prior to the LH surge, you have a primary oocyte. Still a primary oocyte. LH makes it go to a secondary oocyte. And then you get ovulation. And then finally, if you get fertilization, you get to that last stage.